can join us this morning to talk about the captioning processes she's put in place here at the University of Montana. And as you may know, Janet has worked for a long time at the University of Montana on accessibility issues, and we've collaborated on a lot of issues together. Janet heads up the Accessible Technology Services in IT, and she also is the coordinator for our Electronic and Information Technology working group. So, Janet, thank you so much for putting this presentation together, and I will turn it over to you.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I was afraid Marlene was going to stop, as Janet has worked at the university for a long time, but it was nice when she said accessibility for a long time. So I wanted just to talk today about three things. First was just a little bit of overview about captioning. Now, currently I know everybody who's in this is aware of what captioning is, but I wasn't sure who would be in the group, so I'll cover that quickly. Then I'm going to go ahead and talk sort of about the history on campus, just briefly about the different things we've tried as we've moved through the process. And then finally, I'll talk about the thing I'm introducing today and we've tried to introduce on campus this fall. That's kind of a new way to approach this. So we'll start with that. So captioning basics, just that there's a number of distinctions whenever you're talking about captioning that can make it kind of confusing when people are communicating about it. And one distinction is whether you're talking about verbatim versus edited captions. And edited captions would be if you sort of translate or tweak what they say. And here at UM, we of course aim at the verbatim so that all people are getting the same content. Another distinction is between open and closed captions, and open are sort of the burned on captions where whenever you play the video, whatever it is, you always see the captions. And again, our preference here at the university is to have closed captions where individuals can turn them off and on so that those who want them can have them and those that would get distracted with captions can turn them off. And there has been a distinction for a long time between captioning and subtitles. And when we moved into the digital world, we left behind, not left behind, but moved to a different way of working with captions also, because they used to have a different channel on the non-digital boxes. And so some of the distinctions have really kind of merged together, but in general, subtitles are intended for spoken content and don't include sound effects, whereas captions include sound effects, the speaker IDs, and non-speech elements. So, like I said, there was a distinction between encoding and how the captions were delivered, but again, that's all kind of merging together. Oh, and as I go through this, if you have any questions or comments, please add them in and Marlene can help me with the chat. It's always good to have that kind of comments. I think the biggest distinction, though, is in people's awareness of captioning. So we have a huge gap between the people who say, oh, yes, YouTube provides captions. And what they really mean is that the automatic captions are provided by YouTube. And as most of us know who've looked at it, that is captioning provided by voice recognition that's for everybody in the whole world and not trained. It just listens to everybody's voice and tries to recognize what was said. And so those automatic captions are definitely not the the way that we aim at. So what we do aim at is something called the Described Caption and Media Program and their standards or their guidelines. And that not only says that captions should be verbatim, but it also says that there's a number of distinctions that you have to watch. So for example, one of the ones that I think is a big distinction with YouTube is that you don't break up phrasing. So if you have an English phrase like, she walked down to the water, that you don't have she walked down on one caption bubble and then on the next slide or the next screen that it says to the water, that it's, flows. So it's much easier to read for comprehension. So that's one of the issues. And when you're captioning, and I know Marlene and others know this because you run into this stuff, sometimes these 30 to 35 pages of recommendations make an issue because, for example, you're supposed to have each caption be about 2 seconds at least on the screen. And we've had situations where we're showing a speech therapy session, for example, and the speech therapist says, say ah, and the kid goes ah. And if you need to identify those speakers with labels, and sometimes you wouldn't if there are only 2 people in the room, but you have very, very short utterances, and you can't, it wouldn't be up on the screen for 2 minutes or for 2 seconds, sorry, if you had each of those separate. So sometimes you merge them together. There are standards, and sometimes it's a bit of an art. So those are some things that we pay attention to in some of the distinctions. So Erin had a question, and I'm looking to see here. Well, and that's, Erin says, my understanding is that DVDs provide subtitles, so do they not include the contextual information that regular captions do? And that is normally what I see, that the ones that have DVDs are not, or the subtitles on the DVDs don't traditionally have the sounds, although sometimes that's not true, and it really varies. And that's where I think it's getting kind of merged together, and it's hard to know exactly what is, is it the way the DVD plays, like you run the subtitle from the menu? Is that the distinction between captions and subtitles, or is it the thing you're saying, what is in them? And I think a lot of people don't actually know the difference between subtitles and captions, and so may or may not be doing it correctly and include everything. Okay, so again, you guys watching right now know this, but I'm showing just a segment of a screen that shows how, when you do captions, you have the captioning bubble and you're synchronizing it so that it works well and plays at the same time as the person saying something or as the sound happening. So in what I'm showing you, the bottom line, kind of the bottom band, shows the sound raising and lowering and just the different occurrences of sound, and the captions then above it are synchronized to that. And one of the issues is that, yes, the captions are made so people who need to have that text for some reason announced or so they can see it can use it. However, we want to be careful so that they're not terrible for the people that actually can hear and are watching it for increased comprehension or whatever reason they are. So, but that's kind of just a generic look at captions, and this, just to explain where that came from, is Camtasia Studio, and this is the screen that you get with Camtasia Studio. And this is just showing that when you're working on this process, you can actually edit the captioning bubbles, which is on the top left of this screen. You can see the video as it's playing on the top right, and the captions are showing up there. And down below, you can see the timeline where you have the sound, the video, the captions, anything else you want to add in that's creating the whole thing. So that's just a bit about captioning. Are there any other questions? And hello, Cheryl, before we go on to talk about kind of the processes we've worked through here on campus. Okay. So what happened is, a couple of years ago, there was a student who came and said, we're getting a printed transcript and having to figure out where it is, where we are in the movie that we're watching. And we have to go back and forth between the paper in our hand and the movie. And are there any technological ways that we could improve that? So we got to looking at it and, came up with all sorts of crazy, interesting little things. And then, of course, said, well, there is captioning. and that might be the way to do this. And so we started with sort of a proof of concept of offering to caption one entire class, and there was a student that required it in that class. And at that point, it was just me and one other individual who'd worked on this, and it took half of my week to do this at least. And I wasn't doing it completely up to standards, and we used it in Camtasia Relay, which was used in classrooms. So that was why we used that product. But it had a captioning process within it that was based on word prediction. And so it would listen or kind of notice which words are being used and predict the next ones based on the topic. And if the speaker was clear, it was kind of interesting to see how it would do it, especially using that technique, which was not voice related at all. And if it misunderstood something, you could have a whole paragraph where it was totally off topic, but you could see that you could almost see the logic behind what it was doing, the algorithm it was using. So anyway, so we used that for a while, but it was a really clunky interface. And as I said, it wasn't really using voice related concepts. So we stopped using that, but because we had since we use Camtasia Relay and Camtasia on campus, we moved into just using Notepad to transcribe and then Camtasia Studio to go ahead and synchronize. And then we added in the concept of using foot pedals and a program called Express Scribe. And Express Scribe allowed us to have variable speed playbacks. The foot pedals allow us to control the video with the feet, which was always hard when you were doing it with, trying to run the video and type both on the keyboard. And it also had something that we didn't use a lot, but I think if we'd been doing more specified and consistent topics, we would have. It was called FastFox, and it's a text expander. So you can type abbreviations, or it can kind of guess, if you're doing a medical thing, what the different things that you're putting in there might be based on that. And for a long time, well, for a year or two, about 2 years, we were able to kind of meet the competitive prices of just going off campus with this. But then we found Rev Captions, which captions at $1 a minute. And so we've switched to using that for a lot of our commercial videos. Now, two things. In using Rev, we still have found that we need to quality control and check those. So it isn't that it's just send it out, grab it back, and run with it. But also, I say commercial ones. What the process I'm going to show you is if we are recording them on campus. So that's the process that I'll focus on today. And that's so we have kind of a two-prong approach here. So our current process is working with Camtasia Relay and DocSoft. And when I say Camtasia Relay, what we do is have the recording devices set up in every classroom, the ones that we have set up as tech classrooms, and they get automatically recorded. They can be, and then set up through a server process where an individual can say, I want it to go straight to YouTube, I want it to go to a local server, whatever their choices are. And so it's recorded and dumped, and then they can grab it. And so then people would be submitting those videos to Accessible Technology Services for captioning. And we have two ways we react to those made locally. And one of them is using DocSoft ourselves and getting the voice training recognition off of the DocSoft product, and then having our captions and reviewing them and correcting them from there. And the other is that we actually let individuals upload directly to what this new product called DocSoft. And what DocSoft does, and we'll talk about it a little bit more here as we go along, but it uses the Dragon Naturally Speaking engine to do voice recognition training, so that whereas YouTube is trying to do voice recognition on anybody that comes to YouTube, any video that's there, DocSoft actually allows you to create a profile for an individual person who's recording on campus and be able to train that and make it better and better as they go along, add things, change things. So that's the kind of the process we're moving into doing for the non-commercial ones. And our focus truly has been on not making this something that the teachers have to do themselves, but and in fact, they don't have to do any of the process. And there's some teachers who aren't interested in, having the link to their profile and be able to create emergency captioning. So we just train, we run the videos they submit to us through this process, get the resulting voice recognized captions, and we use it that way. So there's several ways this can go. So is there any questions at this point? So what we were going to do is just have you look at a video it's very short. It's done by the individual who is monitoring and working on the server. And if people have not heard of Dragon Naturally Speaking, Dragon Dictate, it's a product that's been around for 20 or more years, 25 years, and it does voice recognition and training. And so this link, if you want to grab it and play it, will show you several things, just the basis of what the process that does captioning, voice recognized captioning, which is called DocSoft. Dragon is the basis of that process. So this shows you kind of how Dragon works natively to give you a sense of how DocSoft might work, and also a little introduction to the person who will help you in the process. So I'll stop for a minute and let you go ahead and run that real quick. It's a little over a minute long, so go ahead and listen.
And Janet, I put that, I might have a typo. I can put that in the chat if you'd like me to. I didn't get that from you ahead of time. Let me retype that.
I think that's correct. So let me check and see if people have, the video is unavailable. Did other people get that it's unavailable?
I got that too, Janet. Cheryl says she was able to watch it.
Oh, that's strange. I wonder if too many people, that's interesting. Okay, well, we'll have that link so people can try it. It was just Devin kind of showing how Dragon works a little bit. But that same concept of working with the voice is what happens with DocSoft. And so when somebody submits a video to us, especially if they said we're going to be doing these videos all semester, then we will grab the first video and or the first 10 minutes, could be 2 videos, could be part of a video, and caption that. And then we feed both the caption and the MP3 file into DocSoft and create a new speaker profile. So this is just showing you a little bit of the DocSoft screen and the fact that, and then we share with you if you're someone who wants to have that link available. And if you were one of the people who wanted to have that link and you got into your profile, this is what, or into your account, this is what it looked like. And this is showing how we would upload both the MP3 and the text file to do the voice recognition training, the initial. And what's nice is that you can actually enhance the training. So we had this set up for a math professor on campus, and she's been using it during the semester, but she just mentioned to me that there are certain math terms that it's not recognizing for her. And I said, well, we can easily go in, and so the screen I'm showing is that to go into the speaker profile, choose that you want to enhance it. And you can actually, the second option on this image is a word list, and you can actually upload a word list and have that training happen. You can also, of course, do additional training with additional videos and using sound files to do that. So in ways you're able to train. We do the initial training, and many faculty members don't even know. If they said, nope, I don't want to be involved, they don't even know that's happening per se, or they know it's happening, but they don't, it's not part of their own process. They just continue to send their videos to us, and we use the voice training and get at least some part of the transcript. So, and then I want to kind of give a caveat to that it isn't saying, or I'm not saying, nor does the product claim that it does 100%. And it does about 80, it claims 80 to 85, and especially if you have a unique subject, that's important. And it also is really important what mic you use. So we have an individual who we went ahead and did all the voice training on it, and then again behind the scenes went through all of the rest of her video and sent it to DocSoft. Well, she had a mic that wasn't great. She was in a room, so either the mic was picking up the room noise or there was just a noisy room, but there was a lot of background noise. Her voice was soft, and it was just not a good match. On the other hand, there are people who have good mics and have good voices, and you get really high recognition rates, and I'll show you one that I did, just a really short one, and how it came out. But some things to be aware of. It's not the silver bullet, and it doesn't do it 100%. But once a speaker profile exists, then the teacher can upload the videos themselves. They can just log in and upload it at midnight, and then go to bed finally, and then get up. And this is showing the screen that shows the DocSoft view files, and there's a whole list of the files that you have, and it's hard to tell, but it says under transcripts, there's a column there, and you click on that in order to get a transcript of the session of that specific video. And when you click on get a transcript, then you can actually export the captions in a number of different forms, including just text, but also you can download it in a SRT form, which is kind of the standard that YouTube uses and a number of different products use. So a teacher could record something at midnight, and especially using Camtasia Relay, it could go straight onto YouTube if they had it set that way, and straight to them as a file. They could then upload that file to DocSoft, like I said, go to bed, in the morning get up, grab at least the captions that exist and submit them to YouTube. So even though they did a surprise and spontaneous video, they had to have some. Then of course it needs to be worked and perfected after that point, but that's the process that would happen. So let's try this one. And if you can't access this video, let me know, because it does show as being open and should be fine. But this is one, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. What this is me showing the DocSoft interface a little bit in a short video, and part of why I show it is because then we have the voice of what my voice, then you'll see how DocSoft worked with that. So I just put it in and see if you can watch that and let me know if not. But it should be visible, and that's just a minute. So we'll wait another minute now, and you can look at that or go refill your coffee. So I just ran it and it's finished, but I'm checking to see if people are ready to start again. Okay. Kelsey, how's it going in Innovation Studio? Oh, okay, and Cheryl's finished. Okay. And it isn't that was, an amazing or full of information video, but I thought rather than trying to run the process and show you live, that I would just run it that way and show you, but also because it then gives us a video. So then that recording I uploaded to DocSoft. And here's the link or the screen that I used. You just pick your file. You have that choose file button. You click on it. You choose the file that you want to upload the video and submit it. And then it turns gray. And it processes about the similar speed of the video. So if the video is 50 minutes long, it takes about 50 minutes. If it's shorter, it's pretty quick. And this is showing, the screen now is the view file screen that just shows that I have the file there. I've just posted it and it says it's scheduled to run. So then it came through and processed. And so then I grabbed it, and now I'm showing a screen that shows on the left are the human transcribed captions. And then, of course, on the right is the DocSoft. So, and I'll just read a few out loud, not all of them. But so when I transcribe it, I came up with DocSoft is a system that takes videos and provides, and I forgot the S there, provides voice recognized captioning. And on the other side, DocSoft said DocSoft is a system that takes years and provides voice recognized captioning. So videos, years didn't work on that one. And again, what I find kind of fascinating is that DocSoft spelled itself with in two words like doc and soft, which it actually doesn't use it that way. So why they didn't put that in the dictionary, I don't know. But let's look at the next one. And largely what we see is it's pretty consistent, that it's doing pretty well. So I'm reading to you the parts that didn't do very well. So the third set here on the screen, I have them in columns, is the humanly transcribed is what the vocabulary is and say what file do you want to upload, and what DocSoft got is what that vocabulary is and say what filed you want to vote. So that's a little off. And then on a third screen and this is all of the transcript of that quick little video, but on the third screen, most of it is okay, except where I say, and then that got confused. But the funniest thing is on the last, and this is the last screen of the comparisons, is again, most of this is the same, and then we get down to the last phrase, which is humanly transcribed. We'll see how this video gets voice recognized by DocSoft. And the DocSoft one says, will see, not we will see how this video gets twice recognized by DuckSoft. Again, I wonder why they didn't, just put DuckSoft into their dictionary. So that's kind of funny. But overall, and that was, I submitted like a 7-minute video for training, and I've run 2 other videos through it. So not a lot of work on training it. And that's the quality that we're getting. All of mine are on a head mic too, so that's kind of consistent, and that helps too. So our current process for individuals who want to use the program, and if they want to be involved, is we can work with them in TechSmith Relay and set up their profiles so that they can have both, and I'm just showing on the screen, it can go from TechSmith Relay and automatically go to a folder on a hard drive and automatically go to YouTube simultaneously. The one that's on the hard drive can be fed into DocSoft. That would be manual if the faculty member chooses to do it themselves. Then there is captions created, but we do quality control, and then they can be uploaded to YouTube. So it can be a pretty smooth process if individuals want to be involved. And so this is a screen showing that we I keep saying it wrong. It's not Camtasia Relay, it's TechSmith Relay now, is something that's a free option for individuals on campus. They can download the little recorder. It's a software piece that's very small. They can record on anything, including they can record even if they're out of internet range. And so out in the field, they can record videos that are stored. As soon as the laptop comes back onto campus, it downloads to our server, and then it would be processed whatever they had set up. And once you run once you record something, then you can go ahead and submit it, and then it goes across to the server or to your folder or wherever you want to go it. And I'm showing now a screen that shows just uploading to YouTube for those who haven't done that, but probably most of you have, that under your video, once it's uploaded, there's a subtitles and closed captioning button. You click on that. Then it would, it comes up and says, oh, it has the English automatic captions, but we all know that's not sufficient and enough. So then we would click on the Add New Subtitles, or CC, which is the blue button on this screen. The next thing it would ask us is, do you want to transcribe it, which isn't what we want to do at this point, but is a nice option if you don't have something like DocSoft. But we're going to focus on the fact that upload file, which is the first option there that shows on YouTube once we've selected that we want to add captions. Uploading the file just says, do you want to upload a transcript or subtitles file? And assuming that with DocSoft, one of the other things we do after DocSoft gets done recognizing voices is we synchronize the timing on the and make sure that it does automatic syncing, but again, it doesn't follow all those DCMP rules, so we would quality check that. But in this case, assuming we've done that, then what we're uploading is the SRT file that has the timings. If we were uploading a transcript, it would just have the words, but that gets uploaded. And oops, I'll go back. And then you have the those files up there, and you're set, and you have something that's, if you didn't do the quality control and this was between midnight and 8 in the morning class, you at least have something up there. But another way to work is if a teacher has their captions from the voice recognized DocSoft process and they put them on YouTube, then they can edit them further there too. So there's a number of ways to work with this, but hopefully if we can spread this around campus, people can get some help with captioning and having their emergency captions done quickly. And then here at Accessible Technology Services, we'll have the help and not have to pay for sending them out for that first initial processing. So do we have any questions at this point? Because that was mostly what I wanted to show.
So Janet, I have a question.
Sure.
So let's say I want to get captions, can I just do it on my own without having to go through ATS? Is there a way I can
Mhm.
access DocSoft?
Well, you'd have to initially have us set up the profile. Okay, so you at least submit 10 minutes of video, and so one nice thing is if people have already captioned it, um, submit that too, and we can very quickly then feed those two in right away, have a profile, and it's fine. It's fine to have people then go ahead and do their own captioning. We will stress a lot that unless they know all of the standards, they might want to have us do the quality control at the end. And we're fine to do that for people. But, yes, it's available so people can, we're trying to make it so people can continue to be innovative and use videos and, and yet also be accessible. So,
Great. So that sounds fantastic. So Cheryl is in Great Falls at MSU Great Falls.
yeah.
So what would Cheryl's options be?
Okay. And Cheryl, and anybody else who's listening to this at later, because I think this is a good option to show to Montana, you can definitely contact me and we can set up a profile for you, and and we can have you use it that way, so you can see how well it works and if it works, and you know and then if you want to set up more, we can have a conversation about how to do it in a more consistent basis where maybe you, Cheryl, would manage things for your campus. But definitely, you can contact me and we can at least set up an initial test of it.
And Janet, how would other institutions around the state be able to access this?
They
What's your capacity?
At this point, we're fine. This thing can work 24 hours a day, and it's not yet working 24 hours a day. Um, and so we still have capacity, and we're thinking that, including what happens is if we get a bunch of things stacked up, it just keeps crunching away on them as they move through the queue. So it may be that we don't get them in 60 minutes after we just submitted a 50-minute video, but we have the capacity to, I think, quite a lot to expand. We may reach a limit at some point, but now we don't have that. Okay, and then I see Erin has something in here.
Thanks, Janet. I appreciate that.
Sure. And so Aaron's saying that he heard about the two presentations, or from the two presentations, that they use YouTube. And I talked to someone that did that, and I don't know the accuracy rate for YouTube, but we did try that, and we just did not get consistent enough results to make it worth our while. Because the off point, it depends on how fast a typist you are, but there's a break-off point where it slows you down if there's too many errors to have to go in and find the word and correct that one word and go on. So we did look at it, but it just didn't seem to work well for us. And some faculty also weren't wanting them to be out on YouTube or had some other spots. So this seemed a more generic way to go. So good questions. Other questions? Yeah, and Cheryl's talking about they use 3Play Media, and I did talk to them recently at Accessing Higher Ground, and they're still like $250 a minute or something. And yeah, we just felt that the YouTube using the auto captions and then fixing them was more work than when we had something like this that could run automatically and get a much higher level, because we had the control over the voice training for each faculty. So we have a voice profile for any person, faculty, staff, whatever, who wants to do it. So I agree, there is a difference in load, and just different ways people go at it. So I think there's this number of ways to work with this.
I
Other
really like,
comments or questions? Go
yeah,
ahead, sorry.
Janet, I really like the way that you can send it vocabulary. So, if I'm teaching chemistry or psychology or whatever,
Mhm.
I can send that specialized vocabulary to the systems.
Yes. Yeah. That proof of concept one we did with Camtasia Relay um, was a Native American Studies class, and it the number of unique words, was amazing, and that really did make me aware of the fact that there's going to be these situations where um, the words are pretty varied. But yes, being able just to upload a Word doc with a list of words I think is great, and it really does make a difference in the recognition. So.
So if I'm teaching French, um, what happens there?
Um, that's a good point, and it does have different languages, and I think you just set the profile to be a French profile when you train it, and you may then, as a faculty, need your English profile and your French profile, and that may not work as well. But it does work with languages.
Great, thank you. So
Yeah.
Cheryl's organizing XLI this year for us in
Mhm.
Great Falls.
Right.
So Cheryl, I was telling Janet, I think this would be a great presentation at our conference in March.
I can definitely do that.
And she
Yeah.
says she agrees.
Yeah.
Not nothing
No,
like
and
putting you on the spot.
oh, that's all right. I love going to Great Falls, so um, it's one of my favorite spots. So that'd be fine. Um, and I'm glad you're coordinating that. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
very happy that Cheryl's taken that on this year.
Yeah. Well, and I can make it on the web. It's a little harder. I wasn't absolutely sure I could actually do I was planning to record myself, send it off, and see that, it went automatically to YouTube and that and grab the file that sends automatically to the server. I was going to do that whole process, but it just was not, I was a little nervous about doing that this way, but I could in person. So that might make it better. So,
Great.
well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, Janet, thank you so much. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, but I really appreciate this demonstration, and I'm looking forward to getting my profile set up and experimenting with this. I think it's a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
resource, and I'm
we're
happy to
glad to do
share
it.
this information with faculty I come in contact with
Good.
through
Nope, that's
disability
great.
work.
Yeah.
So
And Cheryl, do let me know if you want to try it too. So that'd be good.
great. So I next month, January already, 2016, is around the New Year holiday. I think it may even be January 1st. So we will not have a webinar next month. But in February, we'll go back to alternative text for complex images. And Sue Ann Ma's colleague, Brian Gould from WGBH in Boston, will be providing that presentation. So I hope all of you can join us for a second visit to complex images and how we manage to deal with those so that all people get equivalent information. So I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Janet, thank you again. This was just really, really helpful. So I'll stop the recording. Thanks, everyone.